Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and our fellow citizens. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to address an issue that strikes our heart of our nation. The intervened crisis of drugs and corruption, but more importantly, I wish to bring attention to the people who most affected, the victims, whose rights are often to ignore, and the systematic corruption that enable this justice. As we saw today, ongoing Congress hearing, an extrajudicial killing of drugs related cases on the campaign of our former President Roa Duterte allows me to leave the question to you. Are you executives looking for the welfare its community or in a favor of the rights of the drugs addicts and criminal rather than the rights of their victims? My God, I hate drugs. As we often hear from that former President Rodrigo Duterte during his campaign in presidential election in 2016, prior to declaration of a Plan Tokhang, or also known as Tok Hangyo. Illegal drugs are more than substances, they are weapons of destruction. They destroy tears, lives, apart families, and rob individuals of their potential. Communities across the Philippines are also known as Tok are also known across the Philippines have felt the devastating effects of addiction, with young people being most vulnerable victims. But the problem goes beyond the users, and its core lies as well-organized network of drug syndicate operating in shadows, thriving on the weakness of our system. These drug trades breed violence, crime, and sense of fears in our communities. The fight against drugs in the Philippines has claimed thousands of lives, living of a trait broken families, grieving opportunities, and silenced voices as the drug war started. Internal cleansing from this syndicate organization, including men in uniform, or we also known as Ninja Cop, and drug cartels, started to the off their pushers, handlers and runners that known them in the tier that the name and organization rights substances of the public. Those victims of addiction, instead of treating with compassion, are often treated as criminal. They are labeled as problems rather than individuals in need of rehabilitation, care, and opportunity. Meanwhile, innocent lives are often caught in the crossfire. Children lose their parents, entire families are stigmatized. The right to due process, a coronation democracy, is denied to many who are accused but never given the chance to defend themselves. These human rights violations defend the scars of our society. They remind us that we strive in justice. We must also remember our humanity. At the heart of drugs crisis lies another cases. Corruptions. The illegal drugs trade because of those in power who turn a blind eye. Those who accept bribes and those who prioritize personal gain over public welfare. It allows traffickers to evade justice. Protections and criminals, and silence those who are there to speak out. Corruptions, automatically by labeled as a drug addict, as some may use drugs to stay awake and extend that their work hours. Does this statement suggest he is tolerating the use of illegal drugs? law enforcement tasked with protecting the people or something conflict in protecting drug lord. Government optical task bribe, allowing cartels to continue their operation unabated. Cases are dropped and evidence is lost, and justice is delayed or denied altogether. These corruptions create a double standard. The poor face the full weight of the law, while the wealthy and the well-connected enjoy immunity. This betrayal of public trust undermines the fight against drugs and perpetuates a cycle of injustice. When law enforcement officials are free to look other way, when justice can be bought, and when public funds meant for education, healthcare, and infrastructure are seen of with the private pockets, how can we expect to address the root causes of drug problems? Under the current administration, instances of corruptions appear glaringly evident. Billions of pesos allocated for flood control projects show no visible infrastructure. Similarly, large budget insertion, supposedly for the Ayuda program, seem to neglect the needs of middle class families who are struggling the most. Controversial decision program seem to be neglect the needs, such as sale of 10% of the country's gold reserves, the transfer of PhilHealth funds, and the establishment of Maharlika Investment. Funds have been publicly justified as a beneficial for the economy. However, this raises the question, are these measures truly for the country economic growth or for the personal gain of those in power? Corruption and drug trade are various cycles, feeding each other and dragging the nation down. The fight against drugs and corruptions is not just a battle for law enforcement. It is a fight for our nation's soul. It requires the collective effort of every Filipino. Let's support leaders and initiative and prioritize compassion of fairness. Huwag mong subukan, masisira ang buhay mo. The fight against drugs and corruption is not easy one. It requires courage, perseverance, and deep love for our nations. Let us envision a Philippine where children can play safely on the streets, where opportunity abounds in the hardworking, and where honesty and integrity are the norm rather than the exception. Together we can build a nation where justice prevails, where compassion trumps, and where the voice of the victims are heard and honored. Let us take the first step today for them, for us, and for the future of our beloved country. As a nation election approach, I urge everyone to stay vigilant, keep an open mind, and choose leaders who are genuinely care for our country. Let us not be swayed by the money offered to buy our votes. Remember, the more they spend, the more they will take from our nation resources. Accept it will must, but let us vote with integrity, principles, and above all, with God guidance. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay Pilipinas.